Welcome to the new moon and Scorpio live stream with your host, with the most, Chad the Maverick. I hope you're feeling fantastic on this new moon and Scorpio Eve. Happy Halloween, happy Samhain, happy Diwali, happy Day of the Dead, happy all the things that include the transformation. Welcome to the new moon and Scorpio live stream. So, with your host, with the most. Desktop audio's on. That's weird. What's happening? So many things are happening. Okay. Here we go. As you can see, I was ill and ready and prepared for this the entire time. That's just how it was. Anyway, appreciate y'all for showing up for this new moon transmission. We're going to be talking about this new moon in Scorpio that's coming up on November 1st. So, let me make sure that I'm live. Let me know, y'all tap in. Let me know over in the comments what's good. How you doing, NK? Yo, mama, yeah, I was late. I know. You know, we on CBT today. I did just get out of a reading just moments ago, and I wanted to kind of like take a little bit in between. What up, my friend? What's good, James? All right, and Randall, what's up? All right, so we're here. We're together. We got the people pulling through, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So today we're going to be breaking down this very important and very integral new moon in Scorpio that's going to be getting you to tap into the deepest recesses of your energy and learning how to then utilize it properly in the world which you live in today. And I know that those are a bunch of words, but we're going to really start to kind of dig in to what this means. I'm going to be lighting this sage to start this live stream off because I think in terms of the overarching energies that are popping through, this is an important part. Let me know if y'all hear me okay. I have my fan on, but I could easily turn it off. I do know I started off with the desktop audio mirroring itself, so apologies for that in that process. But we are going through, and I'm using this space and lighting this right now to kind of help intend a brand new transformation that's coming through for us as a collective. This is the last new moon that we're having before we shift gears into Pluto and Aquarius, which I will be covering as we get closer to it. But the main part about Scorpio season is really being able to inherit, master, and tap into the concept of mystery. And what is the mystery of who you are? What are the underlayers and the underbellies of the aspects that have built you into the character you are, that has led you into the energies that you protrude and show into the world? And most importantly, how do you show what you resonate with on a deeper emotive core that maybe not everyone that you know will understand, but it's very true and understand it to you? I appreciate the hearts, appreciate the love as we step into this. I didn't want to just start to light all these things to build up this overarching things, and we're going to get into cards today as well. I know I haven't been doing cards as much, but this is a Halloween time frame, and to not do cards, well, I've been doing the Astro Tarot alignment readings. So for anyone who doesn't know, I've been doing, obviously, my consultation. So if you want to come through and book a reading with me, this is a time to do it, you know? All this to say, right? I really want to intend this space right now as we head into this new moon in Scorpio phase to allow everyone who's watching this stream to dive into their own personal truth, the depths, the hidden layers, what's going on with the inner part of you. How do you end up becoming one with your higher self? How do you end up becoming one with your wants and desires? How do you remember, know, and resonate at the fact that what you seek is always seeking you? This is what I want to kind of help intend, and so it shall be. Okay. Ooh. So a lot of people are just like, what was that? Well, that was a good intention, right? And so half the time, people don't realize that the magic in the world that we exist in often comes from the mundane. It often comes from you just having a really important feeling. It often comes from you becoming more understanding of your subconscious mind. The subconscious takes a first step, a stronger step, I would say, when it does come to Scorpio season in general. But for this new moon, as it's still aligning with all of these different holidays that have to do with a very similar theme. And what is that theme? Is that the veil right now and coming up over the course of this next week is very thin. And I want to let y'all know, some people, I even talked to a couple people today, they were talking like, oh my God, I'm kind of scared for this new moon in Scorpio coming up. This is not something to be afraid of, but you will be dealing with certain uncomfortabilities of self that might be coming to the surface in order for you to triumph them, right? Um, Fear is a very strong motivating factor that has been unfortunately guiding the collective consciousness for a very long time, coming from the fear of different parts of religion, the fear of not being enough for a lot of people, the fear of never finding love. There's a lot of fears that end up driving our actions. And it's through these fears that we end up finding the light at the end of the tunnel, which is proverbially what we call Sagittarius season once that starts. But right now, we're all in the dark, right? We're in the dark. We're in the cave. We got no flashlight. We may have each other around, but we can't even see each other. We can only feel each other through. Hey, I know that person's over there because I feel their energy, right? Have you ever been somewhere or like the lights go out? Like I'm thinking about like back in the day, like at school or something, and like the power would go out for some random reason, right? And everything's dark and you can't see nothing, but you like, oh, I still like I know my friends over there. I can still I sense them, I still feel them, they're still over there, right? As James said, dark night of the soul. As a matter of fact, the collective itself, as like an energetic, has been going through its dark night of the soul. This is the darkest time of a lot of things, and it has everything to do with this Pluto in Capricorn that's going on right now. And Pluto in Capricorn is at its last stages. As a matter of fact, in the next 2.5 weeks, we're into Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Pluto in Capricorn is the reason why I would say this election cycle and election season, everyone has always kind of been like, people have to go vote, or like, yo, you got to go choose what you got to be, like blah, 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 blah. You have fun choosing your next master, right? But the idea of this, right, is all jokes, not even jokes, all things aside, genuinely speaking, like the everything that I've seen thus far in the terms of anything political, there has been no, I at least haven't, I can't speak for everybody, but I at least haven't seen a singular good, just good, genuinely good take. Like, hey, you should rock with X candidate because of this good thing. It was literally because, hey, this other person is worse. Hey, this other person is worse. Hey, this other person's worse. Hey, this other person's worse. And this is the shadow, right? This is the shadow of everything that has gone on. The things that have been dark coming to light when we look at the situation with this celebrity stuff and Diddy being the one at the parties or making the parties, and him finally being behind bars, and the now aftermath of all the things that he did slowly coming to light for people to understand that things weren't always as cheery, fun, and exciting as they used to seem. And I think why this has been such a hard time for a lot of people is because, like, if you're somebody who has been like on the general, like, good side of like, hey, we all can make it, people are going to be good, you're only and constantly being berated by like these negative aspects, right? I was in my last reading a second ago, I was talking to them and I was like, can't even listen to Bad Boy out in public. It's a rap. It's a rap. All those old songs, tell me, like, I can't even finish the word. Can't even start it. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why this is like the whole, circumstance at hand, though, as a general overtone, is because like the hidden layers of what used to be held away from us are all starting to be seen. The reason why people are so kind of screwed in terms of like how they're feeling with this whole political cycle is because we've seen the dirt of all the people that are involved. We've seen the dirt because they were actively talking about it, and they have had a long enough track record with like just the cameras and all the things that they've ever said It's all available for us to see. So whether they have quote unquote grown from these things or not, it still creates a sense of unease, right? Because in general, Scorpio season is trying to show what's on the other side of that hidden veil that they have always tried to hold up. Like Randall just said, oh my gosh, so many songs are canceled. Like so many songs they're harder to listen to now, right? You start listening to certain songs and it's like, I thought that was a metaphor. It's like, no, but nobody was checking for it because we were entertained. And there's this theory back in the day to where it's like, in the Roman times, when there were times of hardship or political unrest, it was called like the time of like the circuses, where pretty much like there were more circuses and charades and like big brand things that would happen when like things would kind of go to crap. And I'm gonna be straightforward. This Pluto and Capricorn is showing that it's about to be a little bit of some crap. I predicted a while ago that I was like, I think this is like low key the last election cycle of the US period. And I'm still holding on to that. Like I was like, I don't even know if we're having an actual election. I'm gonna still hold on to that. And I'm only using that as like an idea because like even if it does go through, the general trust of the people to the powers that be have been completely eradicated. At least if you're paying enough attention. And so this isn't to say not to go do this. I'm not telling anybody what to go do with their own time. Like that's not the point of what I'm saying right here. But I hope that you're feeling almost like a little sense of like, oh, like it's a weird thought. Like, oh, like that's, oh, because that's what Scorpio season is trying to bring out. Because in the subconscious layers of your mind and the subconscious layers of like what's going on, the truth is starting to slowly reveal itself. You get what I'm saying? Chippo Chips said, I hope our next ruler could be Elmo. He would do what's right. But you want to know what? If Elmo sees Rocco the Rock, Elmo gonna be like, hey, yo, Rocco, you're just a rock. And maybe Rocco's more than that. But Elmo's like, no, Rocco, you're just a rock. And you see how like, even Elmo has a shadow side. And I want to point this out. Even Elmo has a shadow side. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Elmo and Rocco. And Elmo from Sesame Street is one of the most happy-go-lucky, hey guys, like type things to ever exist. And the fact that he has an op being, first of all, a pet rock, it's hilarious. But like in general, even he has shown what? Signs of jealousy, signs of envy, signs of unease. Like what's going on with this? And so I have to point out all of these aspects, the fear that's being felt, and to also be like, first of all, I understand. I genuinely get it. Because when it gets to this new moon and Scorpio part, this is like, what do we find on the other side of fear? What do you find on the other side of fear? I don't know about y'all, but every time I've ever like really gone about and done the things that I've been most afraid of, on the other side has been some type of like either treasure, or even if it wasn't a direct reward, it felt good to do, right? It's kind of like how when people go to the gym at first, and when you first go to the gym, you're going to feel like absolute trash. If you first go to the gym and you haven't been in the gym in a hot minute, you get humbled real fast. You get humbled so quick. You'll be like, oh yeah, I remember back in the day, I used to deadlift this amount. And you go to like deadlift and then you pull something and you're like, you know what? Maybe I should slow it down a little bit. Maybe I should. Why? Because it's going to take you a second to uncover that part of you again. It's going to take a second for you to have to dig in or lock in, as the kids say nowadays. I assume they say a lot of things. I do not know what these YNs are saying, but I hate the 3 weeks of getting back into being at the gym or working out, because guess what? That's how long it takes to slowly start to form a habit. And technically, in order for you to like fully utilize and tap into a habit, I think it's 45 days technically. I believe like the thing was like, oh, it takes 21 days to like form the habit. It's like, yeah, but it takes 45 days in order for it to like be a part of your routine, to really tap into your subconscious. So when you get up in the morning and your subconscious mind tells you to go to the gym and you don't ignore it and you're already there by the time you wake up, that's when you start to really tap into that subconscious. That's when you start to dig into like that whole Scorpio feeling. Now, let me explain Scorpio a little bit before I like have some people lost. I know some people don't know. As a matter of fact, I'm about to turn off this fan just because it's bothering me. And I want to tap in real quick. So I'm gonna hit you with a BRB in just 1 second. And we back. Okay. My bad. The fan was just bugging me out. So, and like Chippo said, I hope everyone's having a good evening, by the way. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I know I was a little bit late today, but I was getting out of a reading. I was going in for a second and I was like, you know what? Y'all could wait. Love y'all though. So the next day, everything is sore and you can't hold a pen. And yeah, like the whole idea, hi Kelsey, was good. So the whole idea of this, right? And appreciate you again, Charity. The whole idea again behind the Scorpio energetic. Let's talk about Scorpio and then we'll dive in from there. So Scorpio is the fixed water sign, right? Scorpio is the one to hold the world of emotion. And what Scorpio really wants to do through their investigative tendency is like hold people accountable for the things that they said that they felt. To hold people like in that essence of like how that energetic made people feel. But here's the kicker with the Scorpio vibration. Sometimes Scorpio lacks the understanding as an energy that people change, or people have the capacity to change, or people have the capacity to transmute. And I know a lot of people have opinions on can people really change? And the answer is yes. But the kicker is, are they willing to change on that deep internal level, or are they trying to change to appease the social paradigm? And that's when we start to get into something a little bit more interesting, right? So in terms of like people that are changing for the sake of like themselves and their own sovereignty and how they end up tapping into that, that's a little different. There's like more of a possibility of like true change and adjustment that can potentially come through that, but you have to do the emotional work. How many times, and this is for whoever's in here, how many times, and I know this is going to resonate for the ladies specifically, have you like told a guy something and he's like, oh man, I'll change this up. And then they didn't. Or you're like, oh yeah, I don't like when you do this. And they're like, yeah, I'll change it. And then they start to for a bit and then it trails off. Or vice versa. Times where someone's like, hey, yo, I need you to do this. And you're like, yeah, I'll go to it. And you're like, man, why didn't it stick? Man, why didn't it stay? Because you didn't make it a point to have that sink into the subconscious mind. You didn't make that a point of repetition in order for you to be like, yo, let's really utilize this. Let's really tap in from here type deal, right? So the idea behind all this is that everyone has a capacity to transmute, but are you willing to do the emotional lifting, right? Are you willing to go to that emotional gym for that 3 weeks where you hate the way that you feel in order for you to get into that flow? And then you're like, am I him? Am I her? Am I they? Am I them? They, them, him, her? Timothy, Devon Norton? Is that me? Is it? Who knows? Anyway, so I'm just being extra. Anyway, but uh y'all changing for you, not anything outside of you. That is really what makes the real difference. And that's why the new moon in Scorpio, in my personal opinion, is being set up during all these time frames. Because as much as you, yes, sir, shades indoors, yes, shades indoors. First of all, who said I'm indoors? Who says I'm even inside? I've been listening to a lot of Plutoski, which is Future, but it has a lot to do. Future is also a Scorpio, so I'm doing my Scorpio season remediation. I'm acting like I haven't been listening to him for like the last 5 months straight, but that's okay. What I can say though is the concept, I would say, that the change of Scorpio really brings is like you need to really transmute and put your heart into that something every day. This is why Scorpios in general are like obsessive. Like at their best, they are obsessed with their passions and they are so intertwined with. Also, shout out to y'all for using the YouTube emojis. I've been trying to get my way around those and telling y'all to use them because I think they're cooler. Um, yeah, you should check those out. Those are fun. Um, but in general, like the whole idea behind the Scorpio deep dive, right, is like through the obsession of something, you can become great, right? I, for lack of better terms, have an obsession with astrology. It's a fixation. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy it. Why? I think astrology gave me the language to be able to speak to anyone all across the board. It's been able for me to sit down and talk to you about some like deep situations. I've been able to talk to people about some of the best and worst times of their life and still have them leave with a smile by navigating what's going on with the stars themselves. And I'm not saying that because it's just a me thing. This is the idea of what it is to like feel seen. This is the idea of what it means to like feel real in this world that is trying to make everyone think that they're fake, right? And as much as I'm hype about the advancements of AI and the technology that comes in, because like when used properly, that's for a beautiful thing. Or unfortunately, on the other side, there's people that aren't going to use it for good, right? When I use it for stuff that like makes sense to me for my workflow. Sometimes I'm making a song and I can't think straight, and I'm like, man, how do I make this chord different? How many semitones is it? I don't remember. Like, how do I make D major into this? And then like it might help me out on something like that. There are like there's a lot of ideas where that happens. But then again, on the flip side of that, there's somebody who's over there being like, man, how do I hack into a cyber truck? How do I money glitch, which was the craziest thing. Have y'all seen that? Did y'all see that? I hope y'all saw that. I hadn't talked about it because I was like, this is just too wild of a concept. And maybe they could have even started doing some BS with that as Pluto was an Aquarius, but they were like, these young people, and for the brothers and sisters in here, the YNs, they were just bugging out. And they were like, yo, I saw this in the game once. Let me do this in real life, right? Nah, it was the one for the banks. The one for the banks, and they're like, what if I withdraw $30 million just for fun? And it's like, that's a bad idea. But then again, the whole idea behind what am I saying? One second. Actually, I want to point something out right now. As I was like, what am I saying? Let me stop. I hope y'all notice I stopped. In the end, I'm like zoning out and looking away. But what's happening is I'm going like down into the depths, right? I'm letting that start to resonate. You know, you have to like feel into where you're coming from, right? The new moon of Scorpio is gonna have you start to feel into your body even more, right? And then not to even be like raunchy or nothing like that. The full moon, sorry, the new moon in Scorpio is also going to be a resurgence of like people's sexuality, your needs, your wants. You might start to be like, I need to explore this thing a little bit more, right? This new moon of Scorpio for some people could be people even like being brave enough to like come out of the closet for some people that are like dealing with that. Or I don't know if that's even a proper term right now. I apologize if that's like something that's an outdated term or anything. But like genuinely speaking, like there's this need and want where your body is like yearning for things. And unfortunately, a lot of us get taught that our needs aren't supposed to be met. Or to meet our needs is like to be too selfish or something. But the truth is, we all have needs. We all have wants. We all have desires. We all desire certain feelings. And as long as that's done in a proper way, as long as you're dealing with stuff, people are grown, people know what's going on. That's perfectly fine exchange of all that's going on. Now, the shadow side is that for some people, people don't know the difference. People are just like, as again, the people are saying, crashing on out. And so the main portion of the new moon in Scorpio is happening on Halloween. And Halloween in general, in my own life, has always been a very auspicious time of things, right? Halloween has always been a turning point. We are years enough removed. I kind of wish the homie would be able to help me explain this because he was there at the time. But there was a Halloween that I had in college. Oh God. Okay, so there's a Halloween that I had in college, and Halloween was always this time where people kind of knew who were their friend or not. Halloween was a time where people knew who they were going to date for the rest of like the year, or at least for the winter. Halloween was a huge turning point, right? And don't get me wrong, listen, I know a lot of y'all ladies like to dress up as things for Halloween, and I enjoy the costumes very much so. I am but a man, but that can also sometimes, depending on the circumstance, bring up some troubles and hoopla. But everyone loves the mischievousness of that Halloween time frame. Everyone loves it. Like, if we didn't love it, we wouldn't do it every year. Like, it's just a lie. Like, we do enjoy it. It's the night to be like whatever you want for that time, right? Um, like it's the permission slip to like just kind of get out of your own way and hop into your own character, right? So like if I'm pulling up, so like so I'm gonna explain the story in a second, but like if I'm pulling up like this to the function, right? It's the one time a year where no one's gonna question what I'm doing. They're just gonna be like, what are you? And that's why I used to make up my Halloween costumes every year. But that's besides the point. What I can say again about like the Halloween, wait, hold on. Uh, nah, the nicest of the outfits on Halloween are always appreciated. That part. Anyway, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Facts. Being brave enough to take that leap, indeed. Um, it's definitely that time. This I'm reading from Charity right now. It's definitely that time. Been growing in silence for so long. Rebirth, transformation, and death to the old habits, beliefs, and self. You're a wizard, Harry. Facts. But okay, so the idea, at least behind this Halloween time frame, people have an excuse to transform into whatever they want for the night. And whether you're into the magic side of things or not, you got to think like you are doing that thing for that day. You know what I'm saying? You are stepping into that vibe. You are stepping into that space and place for that little bit. At the very least, you got to admit that. So the main change that ends up like coming through with Halloween is big transformation. So let me explain a little bit of the story just so y'all can get this. Ah, gosh, here we are. And this is going down memory lane, a very Scorpio thing to do as well. I was probably like 21. I'm gonna just say that for the story's purpose. I was 21, I think. I don't know. But basically, my friend, like one of my like closest friends at the time, actually had an apartment that he was having, and I went to the school in pretty much the middle of nowhere. So the whole idea was like we're gonna have this banger party at this one person's house. And we did. And so we were not directly hosting it, but we were like kind of in charge. But the way that it was set up was half of the people in that house were sports people. So it was all the jocks, it was all the people from like every frame and reference of things, right? And then on the other side, the school that I went to had a gaming major. So there was also on the other side of things, there were the nerds that were there. And not even discriminate. I'm a nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like I was literally the RA of the house of the nerds. Like that was my people. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's no disrespect with that at all. It's just like they were just really into games and lived it up. And so all throughout, and this is why this is important, all throughout all of the experience of school, there was just like a natural segregation of things. Like typically both of those worlds never mixed, right? But because it was a party that we were kind of hosting for the most part, everybody pulled through from like the nerdiest nerd to the jockiest jock to the in between people, such as myself. Everybody was there. The ladies, the handsome people, just everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it was like the reason why it was so cool is because during that Halloween, it was like the first time that we ever saw just like everyone come together for the common cause and just like vibe with each other. It was like the first time we saw people vibing where it was like, these are people from different worlds. But you want to know what it was? It was so genuine and organic and authentic between all the people who were showing up that it was like, it just worked. Like it just worked, right? And the reason why I'm talking about this is because despite all of that stuff working, of course there was some mischief a little bit involved because we were in the midst of Scorpio season. There had to have been a little something, right? So at a certain point of the night, I don't know if y'all hear that dog barking, but you know, whatever. But like when we get into the certain point of the night, right? Mind you, at the time, I was a young single guy living his best life. And so I was just kind of like, hey everybody, I'm here. How's it going? It was good. It was a good night. It was a great social time. All I can say though is that towards the end of the night, there was a fight that broke out. And it wasn't even between it wasn't between any, and I want to point this out. The fight that broke out wasn't even between anybody that was like a part of either of those groups. Everybody that came to show out literally started getting along. It was so wild to watch. It was like, wow, that's cool. It was people that were from outside that popped up and they just started some stuff. And so they're starting some stuff. Things are getting crazy. Things are getting loud. People are getting uncomfortable. Things are getting a little weird. Everything's like, what's going on? What's happening? Some people are starting to like low key leave because things are like, right. And then this altercation pops off, and I have to hop up and do something. So me and my other boy, we're both large people. So we pop up and we're like, what's really good right now? And so we're breaking up this fight between two people. I'm grabbing this dude and like slowly bringing him outside. My other friend is like making the other dude sit on the couch. And they're like fully still just like running at each other as we're doing this. And the reason why I think it was so interesting is because by the time we kind of separated them and we sat them down, um, there's more to this obviously, but like when we sat them down, we were like, what's the problem? Right? Like why is this happening? Like what's the real issue here? Right? And I remember from both accounts, neither of them knew why they even started that. You get what I'm saying? It is always the outside people said, you're not wrong. Neither of them knew why it really started. You get what I'm saying? And okay, I'm gonna be more honest. So basically, I'm gonna keep it real. So basically, dude that I was dealing with thought it was best to go leave to come back. And I'm going to say that very, very briefly, because for the people that get it, and those who don't. And so he went to go get something and come back. And as he went to go get, I looked at him straight in his face and I was like, what do you think this is finna solve? Mind you, by the time the cops also broke up this party, like it wasn't good at this point. Everyone had a good time though. Everyone that was there had a great time. No, this was before that. That was before that happened. I'm sorry. All this to say, the reason why this is even like coming up is that they didn't even know what they were fighting in the first place. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even know why they were like going at each other in the first place. They were so caught up in that scorpionic energy that they were both triggered about other stuff, and it all just came to the surface and they didn't know what to do with it, which is why the scorpionic energy and why I'm even explaining this in the first place. It's so important to learn how to sit with that. It's so important to learn how to navigate that for yourself, because everyone has rage. Everyone's upset about something. Everyone's honestly traumatized about something. There's no way that you're living in a modern world and not had to deal with something ever. It's BS. You know what I'm saying? And so Scorpio season can sometimes bring out a certain amount of rage. Sometimes you could remember something that has happened from X amount of time ago and it just comes back up and you're triggered again. This is going through. And like, I didn't sit with it. I need you to sit with it this season, especially for this new moon in Scorpio. You need to sit with it. Sit with it. understand it, nurture it, and you'd be so surprised that the magic that you've been thinking was living outside of you, that you were thinking that wasn't supposed to be around you or for you, starts to actually show up in your actual world, right? So by the time that night ended, I ended up having to dip out. You know what I'm saying? I ended up just having to like dip. I got picked up. It went so crazy that I got picked up in someone's mom's car. Like that's how wild the night actually ended off. Oh, like that's how wild it was. And this was in college. So you gotta think like it was bugging out, right? And so why I'm explaining this isn't to be afraid of this. And also this was a chaotic time that was going on. I think at the time it was a Halloween during Mercury retrograde on a full moon. Or if I'm not mistaken, like it was everything was happening that Halloween, right? This Halloween is a little different. This Halloween is way more geared to the magic behind things. This Halloween is guilt. Yeah, no, it wasn't. I wasn't the problem that night at all. I was the one that was trying to solve it. I was talking to them like, yeah, we trying to get them to calm down. So y'all don't got to do nothing else. Like, we was really chilling. But some people were ready to like crash out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the idea behind all of this and why I even mention this to say is that sometimes things that are even start good, that sometimes things get dark. Sometimes people are dealing with stuff that you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? There's a word that has to go with a lot of religious context to where it's like it's not the battle isn't between flesh and blood, but it's between the principalities. It's between the things that we represent. It's between sometimes people's angels beef with each other. Sometimes not everybody got angels. Let's keep it a stack. And I'm sure that you've been around those people. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all might not have those, but you have learned how to have a better relationship to those things. Some people may come from some energies that are more dark. Some people might come from some energies where you were born into something and had to like come out of it, right? Some people don't come out of it. Some people want to stay in it. Some people don't even notice that they're in it. There's so many subconscious layers that go on. And people that are typically spiritual or lean towards the spiritual or lean towards the healing aspect of things, we've all, for the most part, from what I understand, been through something, right? And I remember in that one instance, that night of me breaking up that fight, I ended up having to grab dude and like really give him the work on some like that's the worst thing that you could do right now. And I remember just seeing his eyes just be like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know why this is going on. People are dealing with all types of stuff all the time. Like people are really like dealing with so much. You are dealing with certain things that will not just naturally come to light. But I'm trying to let y'all know that this new moon in Scorpio is inviting you to like really sit in your dark. Oh, to find out you are the light. Shout out Let Go Studio. You just finished my sentence. You saw that? You saw that link? You saw that link? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, no, it was stupid. No, like chip on chip. It was the dumbest thing in the world. It was I think it was over a girl too. It was over a girl. It was something stupid. It wasn't even worth it. Um, but at the same time, my friend and I were just making sure our friend's house was good. Like we were just protecting the turf, you know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, glad you're able to help in that situation. What year was that? I want to say it was like 2016, if I had to guess, because it was before my like whole like enlightenment era. I think it was like 2016 or 2015. Or 2016, honestly. But the whole reason why I'm even pointing this out again is because like now this is a story that for some people, or I'll put it like this, some people in this story just had a good time and left. Some people in this story just had a good time and they're like, okay, I'm gonna head out before things got weird, right? Some people stayed past that even and they still had a good time. Some people were scared out of their mind because all they saw were people yelling and then people started squabbling. And like I hope this isn't the case for anybody in this time frame. Mind you, the world was a little different prior to the shutdown situation that occurred as well. Like it was different, different time frame. If you know, you know. But like there's this idea of like sitting in stillness, moving through your authenticity, and really expecting and understanding your shadow, right? Because like the reason why I was able to kind of pull that guy out of that BS so to a certain degree, it wasn't because I was even spiritual at that point. I just knew the dark of that. You know, I understood. I was like, I see where you're coming from. This is stupid. And to be able to also be bold enough and courageous enough to look somebody in the middle of a crash out and be like, this is stupid. Stop this. That takes a walk through fear. You know what I'm saying? That takes a walk through fear. Whether you feel afraid of that in that time frame or not, that's a walk through fear. And what I'm trying to just show you is that like there's so many aspects and people in historic conversations that have to do with people walking through their fear in order for them to find success. People walking through the depths of things in order to find their light. The dark nights of the soul that people go through. Because those two people that were in a squabble were having dark night of the soul outside of that party. And so when they ended up having those two situations come up, we had two dark nights of the soul. And we have, as the Boondocks call, a moment, right? And so the idea as we enter into this new moon in Scorpio is that despite what you've been through, how can you transmute that? And to this day, I hope that both of those people are good. I hope that they ended up getting and finding help. I hope they dived deeper into like their own minds and where they were coming from and found solutions with that. And at the best, I hope that they ended up working it out with one another. Or never seen each other again, one or the other, like whichever one's more important, right? But that's what's going on. So someone said some people were on 2000's Andre 3000 and some were on 2024 Kendrick Lamar that night. Yes, absolutely. So the whole aspect again to this new moon in Scorpio, and I'm a little bit further away from my keyboard and I don't want to get distracted. But I did end up writing a newsletter. Actually, I'm gonna do that. Y'all signed up for my newsletter, by the way. Also, have y'all even signed up for the mini reading that's going to be coming through? I'm not doing them directly today, but I'm going to be getting the Scorpio new moon mini readings over to everyone before the actual new moon or like a little bit after the new moon itself, just to give y'all that perspective. So this right here is going to be the link. So if anyone was looking to get a mini reading for this new moon in Scorpio, this is where to do it. I am very busy this week, but I'm going to be able to make time to get all of these done over the course of the next bit. The ones who ordered the Mars and astrology mini reading, I still have those for you, and I sent a few out so far, or I have a few that I had finished. I didn't send them out yet. But for those of y'all who are also looking for the Mars mini reading, that's going to be coming out, but they're probably going to be coming out after the card pulls that I do, just to make sure I get everyone what they need at a timely manner. So just wanted to let y'all know that transparently. For those of y'all who have ended up coming through getting a mini reading, thank you so much for the patience. I do be in between, you know, my regular work on a day-to-day basis, editing horoscopes and doing other work for clients and their social media and all that fun stuff. So appreciate y'all for again rocking through with me and being patient as well, because you know the whole road to being the best ever is a hefty one. Anyway, let's start to go through to the next thing, right? So, nope, this is wrong. That's wrong. This is right. Yeah, be out here. So this right here is my newsletter. For any of y'all who have never seen my newsletter or hopped into my newsletter, what are you doing with your life? Please make sure that you sign up. It is free. We have over 1,000 subscribers. I'll be forgetting that like y'all really be showing out. Like on the realest of stuff, like thank y'all. Anyone who has signed up for my newsletter and like comes through, I really appreciate it, because like I try to make these as easy as possible to like come through, understand a little bit. It's always connected to these live streams. So honestly, I don't look at the numbers about things a lot, but I really do appreciate the 1,000+ subscribers that we do have on that, because I remember a time frame where like I ain't have no subscribers to nothing. I didn't even know how to write a newsletter, you know? So like shout out to y'all for that. But this is the Under the Stars We Wander newsletter. For those of y'all who are looking for the link, I should probably just send that. That would make more sense. So here we go. Blow. So that's the Star We Wander newsletter. And I think I clicked something wrong. So 1 second. I don't want to. Okay, now we're good. So the other part is, right? This right here is my current website. I'm building my actual website. So please make sure y'all come through and get a few readings, because I'm about to make my real website. I had a website before everyone in the astrology world that I knew. But I had to deal with certain money situations, and when I moved out to LA and such, so I ended up switching over to this. But for anybody who wants to pull through, I have my live stream, I'm sorry, my astrology reading. Right now we have this Halloween sale we got going on. And for those who want the 6-month bundle or want to like really meet with me for a bit, we have a crazy sale on that. For those of y'all who want to do some long-term stuff, please pull through. I have the ebooks, etc. But this is where we end up finding those last mini readings that are coming through in that process. So, and surprise, I did all this just to do this. You didn't even know I got this ready while I was doing all that. I got y'all. Y'all didn't even know I was pulling up the new moon in Scorpio. So to get into this new moon in Scorpio, let's really break down the astrology of this, right? And make sure y'all leave a like down below or leave a comment if you're watching this later. I know this one's a little bit more scrambled, but I want this more to be about the feeling behind this, if anything else, right? So let's get it to the next bit, right? Right now, the only major aspect of this new moon in Scorpio that is happening, like it's directly happening with this new moon in Scorpio, is Saturn retrograde in Pisces, right? So for Saturn retrograde in Pisces, here's really what's been going on in terms of the collective. What does Saturn retrograde in Pisces mean? How's it been impacting the collective in general? I like how this is just progressively, slowly just gotten more pink in the background. Kind of rock with it. I definitely should have lit myself better and expected the sun to go down, but that's okay too. Anyway, we keep it moving. So pretty much when it does come to this overarching new moon at hand, right? The connection to Saturn is saying that whatever it is that you want to crystallize can come to be, but it has to come from a place that is sweet and eternal. I'm gonna say that one more time. Whatever it is that you're manifesting on this new moon in Scorpio can and will come through and be what it is, but it has to come from a place that is sweet, eternal. That is my biggest key word that I can give y'all for this time frame. Because if you're doing something or you're manifesting or you're using this new moon for something that doesn't actually register with your deepest desires, it'll still pull through. You get what I'm saying? Like it'll still pull through. But is it going to be exactly what you want? And so the main question that I really have for you all is, are you prepared to really dive into what you've been scared to dive into? Are you actually prepared to like really tap into sweet eternal? um Screw it. Why not? Right. Um, but yeah, whatever sweet and eternal is going to come through, but you have to really tap in. So why am I crying all the time? And it's okay to cry. Like I think and for anyone who does approach this, like as anyone does approach this transit in general and the intensities of Scorpio season, one of the most important things for Scorpios to ever do is let themselves cry, is to let themselves stew, is to let themselves have a minute to themselves. This is Loki getting mad hot. But this is like to let themselves be themselves, to let themselves have a moment of like being upset, have themselves have a moment of really moving through your own emotions, right? Most people get taught that we're not supposed to cry, specifically men. You're not supposed to cry. Be a man. You're not supposed to cry. You're stronger than this. You're better than that. Oh, stop crying. You're not even supposed to be upset. Like all those kind of things that are coming through. That's not the way that we're going to be living moving forward into the Pluto and Aquarius cycle. The Pluto and Aquarius cycle is going to really start to bring this new dynamic, this new understanding, and this new power that I think a lot of y'all don't really, or a lot of y'all know that you have, but don't know how to tap into. So if you're crying, that could be you just opening up and tapping better into your power, right? If you are upset about these things, that is you starting to really start to like bridge in a newfound perspective and a newfound respect, even for yourself and your energy and how that goes in that process, right? So so someone even said, gotta die to be reborn, right? Like the whole concept of this end of Pluto and Capricorn is that the old world as we know it is slowly losing its razzmatazz. The world is seeing through the lies, the deceits, the BS that has been going on, right? For some people who have been dealing with certain feelings of like betrayal or having to go through these certain circumstances, or really starting to see like where things didn't work out in their world, there is this brand new change starting to move through. There is this mystique that is becoming unveiled for you to really start to see what's happening and what's going on, right? So Randall just popped up. Been celebrating myself a lot lately. Also, sidebar Randall. I know we just got out of it. Randall did the what was it, the 3 months astrologer thing that I do. So we've had multiple sessions together, and I watched Randall go through her Scorpio metamorphosis and that whole process, right? Just coming in, and not to speak on anything specific, obviously, but just saw her come on in, be like, I want to come through. And by the last session we had, what, the other day, we were talking, and just to see that real internal intrinsic growth that happened. This is what this is all about when you start to pay attention to these cycles, right? Now, these are things that you can do on your own accord. But when you know the timings that the world is starting to like move through, when you know the timings of the transits, when you know how these transits are also impacting you, that's when you get to sit in the seat of power. You get to go through that subconscious part, and you get to come up on the other side victorious and feeling like a new. I can't tell you the amount of times in my career where like I've wanted to like quit. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you the amount of times um that like I thought that like nobody would understand what I'm saying. Nobody wants to hear none of this. People just want me to like, you know, do whatever that I'm supposed to do. And then every time I went to go do the right things, or the things I was supposed to do, or the things that the world kept telling me I needed to, I ended up being so miserable, and everyone was somehow proud of me. Oh, congratulations on doing something that makes you miserable. I was like, what type of is this? Excusez-moi? What's going on here? Right. And so the real transformation that I want to at least tell y'all as we move into the depths of this new moon of Scorpio, as we move into, again, we're moving into Samhain, Diwali, Day of the Dead. I think it's a lot put. I don't want to say it incorrectly. But the idea is that like we're really setting in, finding that subterranean level, and then we're going to start to move this forward. So, does anyone have any questions about this new moon of Scorpio in general? I'm about to slowly get into the card pulls. I'm not doing the card pulls live. So I think some people might have been confused. I apologize if that's the case. I'm not doing the pulls during this live stream. I'm going to be starting them up tomorrow throughout Halloween, and then I'm sending them for the first. So this new moon in Scorpio is technically happening on the first, but because of the 3 days before and after rule that the new moons and full moons have, that's where the phases start to happen. So you will be getting your direct message from the cosmos and from late intuition, right? To help you move forward and push through based off of your specific wants, desires, and etc. For those of y'all who just want to get the general vibe, I'm about to go through and pull the cards in a second. But does anyone have any last second questions on this new moon in Scorpio as I start to open my cards? Where are my cards? I don't even know where my cards are at. Oh, it's because they're in my bag. I took my cards to a baby shower. Shout out to the homie Dylan. I was pulling cards at a baby shower this weekend. That was a really cool event. Um, it was really awesome to just like, rock with that. Oh, wait, someone has a question. One question for the new moon in Pokey Pokes. When it comes to our emotions, what's a good way to connect with this new moon? That's a great question. When it comes to I'm gonna be so honest with you. I think that when it gets to the new moon of Scorpio specifically, like people honestly need to like tap deeper into their sexual energy, and like without shame. I hope this resonates for somebody. It's like the sexual energy without shame, because The sexual energy at its core level is simply just the power of creation, right? Creation in general, whether you do art or anything else like that's coming from the sacral. That's coming from the same place. That's coming from that. First of all, sacral is also ruled by water. Sacral also has that like scorpionish element to it. But like there's a different like that creative, that desire that you have that you feel guilty for it. Because one thing that I noticed with a lot of people is that people feel guilty that they have dreams. People feel guilty that they want to go for the things they want to go for, whether that be from family, whether that be from like whatever the case is. And I let our freak flags fly as long as that flag is freaky. I was like, what? But genuinely speaking, I do think that there is this like really strong understanding and this tapping in of this core element of, yeah, like the sultry nature. You know what I'm saying? What are your desires? James said people are going through their dark night of the souls so much faster than I went through it back in 2008. You want to know why, James? Because 2008 was Pluto and Capricorn. Slow build transformation. Right now, we're getting into Pluto and Aquarius. These are those dark nights of the soul, but we're experiencing them like, it's like, whoa. Like you're like, people are gonna wake up. Like, I'm not saying this to be like 5D or extra or like live it woke, bro. Like literally people are just gonna be like, oh my God, my life's been a lie. Like your very non-spiritual friend, family member, whoever it is has been like, what's going on? They're gonna just be like, oh my God, I could have started a YouTube channel forever ago. How did you do it? Like hard work, dog, showing up even when you initially didn't want to. Being honest about that transition in that process, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much your ego might be like, I need to keep this up this way, you know? Okay, feeling your emotions to the fullness and intensity and sit with grace and harmonize with the energy. Shout out Let Go Studio, that's a fact. What would you quickly say to anyone having their Mars return during all this? Watch my Mars class. Like on a realist note, watch my Mars class. I'm not saying that to be extra. I put a lot of like into the Mars class for that. So look at the Mars class, literally watch the whole thing, especially if you're having your Mars return right now, and that's going to give you like all the stuff you need. It's so cool to be like, watch my master class. Oh, free. It's for the people, for the culture. You know what I'm saying? And the literal names of my first two music projects I made, you know what I'm saying, for the people, for the culture. And that's been the theme ever since 2017 and on. Straight up. What's good, Tab? How you living? But how do you think the full moon? I'm sorry, keep saying full moon, yo. This, oh, y'all got me messed up from that old story, so I keep thinking about how that full moon was happening. Um, how do you think that the new moon in Scorpio could affect people who have their moons in Scorpio emotionally or in general? So for anyone who has a Scorpio placement, the new moon in Scorpio is that real transformative part in the place where you have Scorpio in your chart. So I'm gonna break that down in a bit because we're gonna get into the cards. Do I have Halloween plans? I'm going to wear my cape and be a menace and say hi to people and hopefully have my camera and take pictures of cool people doing cool stuff with their costumes, ideally. You know what I'm saying? I do really like to take just random pictures of things because it's a fun time for me, you know? So I'm about to go and grab my cards real quick. You know what I'm saying? So please hold very briefly. The cards are back there, but I will be back. Okay, I'm back. So I have a tarot deck that I don't typically use unless I'm tapping into something such as this, right? And this tarot deck actually got gifted to me by the author when it first came out, just on some like, hey man, check it out. Let me see if you like it. This deck is a great deck, but it does have like a deeper underlayer to it, which is why I'm like, honestly, for this new moon in Scorpio, I want to pull for these. For the personal pulls, I'll probably use my regular cards, but for this live stream, I just felt called to grab them. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you what it looks like in a second, right? All right, one second. So this is the Icarus tarot deck that's right here. Ooh, ooh. This is the Icarus tarot deck. As you can see, it has a theme to it, right? And for those of y'all who don't know who Icarus is a story of who flew closest to the sun. And I want to kind of point out what's going on with this. So I'm gonna just be straightforward. This deck is typically quote unquote darker. There are going to be some darkish themes that pop out. But the reason why I want to explain this is because this is what's going to be needed to get you to a different section of what's going on. So despite any of the things on here, despite any of the imagery that's happening, that's what's coming through with this, right? So I'm gonna pull a card in general for the collective, see what pops up. And we're gonna take it from there, right? So this seems very Halloweenish right now. So like I wanted to honor that. All right. So this is my first time breaking these out in like 2 years too. Get it. Let's get weird. Yeah, why not? So here's what's happening in the general overtone of this, right? We have the Tower card. Why? Because the civilization and the old structure of the before is crumbling, right? Do I have a link in the cards in the description? No, I do not, because I just grabbed these on a whim, but let me actually pull that up to make sure that y'all can peep that if y'all want to. Because I know we have a lot of strong Scorpio energy people in here. Let's see. So this is what that looks like, right? So does he still have his feathers in this actual thing? He technically does, which I think is interesting, right? But let me start to get into this. So we have the Tower card again, where there's like a whole falling down, crumbling down of what all the things you used to know. I think a lot of people are kind of going to a certain type of like square one, so to speak, right? The idea behind this is the change that's going to happen is not necessarily going to be as chaotic, but it's going to be disruptive. And so there's the inner change that's happening that's going to be making you tap into something different, right? Someone said it's giving Agatha all along. I haven't watched that yet, but I did watch WandaVision. So tell me if Agatha all along is worth it. I'm an OG MCU fan, so please let me know. But yeah, Pluto and Aquarius. Thank you, Ann. You said it. You said it best, Ann. You always be coming through. The Tower card is the change. Pluto and Aquarius is coming through, and the establishment's at hand. So let's get into each particular zodiac sign, and I'm going to do something here where I'm going to pull up the actual newsletter that I have in order to go back. It's worth it. All right. If you say it's worth it, I'll give it a look. I'll let you know. So this right here is the newsletter, as we can see. Huzzah. But I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom. Stop it. Subscribe now. Okay, cool. So we're going down. Also, check out the Mars Masterclass if you haven't. Your boy Snap. All right, so we're going down to these. And so again, if you want to get a card pull for yourself, this is a great way to do it. I'm using this as reference to one, get you to subscribe to the newsletter, and two, just so we can like double back and get as profound as we can with these. So we're going to start off with the fire signs. We're going to start off with Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius and move from there. So if you do want to see this and read along with it, make sure that you pull it up on your side. I'm going to be referencing it right here because these are my notes anywhere. Anyways, final episode comes out tomorrow. Okay, so now I can binge it. All right, that's better. Wondering how this new moon is going to affect. I got y'all. These cards are getting real funky. So let's get into this, right? So when it gets to, they got personality. That's a fact. All right. So the Aries, let's start off with Aries, right? This is going to be happening in the 8th house of intimacy, transformation, and resources. What's popping up for Aries season during this Halloween, right? So Aries, y'all got the Hierophant. And so as you start to dwindle more into your subconscious mind, as you start to step more into the inner layers of what's really happening for you, right? You're gaining a wisdom that's coming from above that isn't even about your ego. So Aries, don't think that like because you know what you're talking about, this is all from an egoic place. This is not one of those classic time frames where people are just assuming that you're like trying to step up and like be extra. Like Aries, you're really going through this real transformation where you're starting to realize the like real magic that's always been behind those things you've been into it, and you're realizing the real magic of everything that you've always been like trying to push forth and move forward, right? So the concept that I would say getting into this is that you facing your fears, Aries, on this new moon is going to allow you to like become the warrior you always wanted to be, but you don't have to fight every fight like you thought you did. Keep maintaining the vibe that you have, keep maintaining your confidence level when it comes to the things that you do. And that's what's going to be really paying itself off. So it's not a matter of you trying to show up and show out. It's just a matter of you being and allowing the universe to speak to you as it does and then acting on things after that. These cards are real energy, energy like you're going to read more, you're going to read more, you're going to read more. So I want to honor that in that process. So these are going to be a little bit quicker because like this is just what the deck is pulling through. So let's get to Leo, right? Ooh, Leo. Guess what, Leo? We have the Sun card. Y'all are stepping back into the light, Leo. I think that y'all have been, ironically, you're stepping into the light while it's literally Scorpio season. So, Leo, I think y'all are finally getting out of the slump that you were in. Because for the last 2 months, 3 months, Leo hit like a slump after their season, yo. I don't know what happened, yo. Y'all were like, we're up, we're up, we're up. Was it? Mercury retrograde was during Leo season. That's why. So Leo ended up going like into this slump period. Maybe the confidence y'all had wasn't on point the way it used to be. The confidence that y'all were going for wasn't there. But the thing about it is, Leo, this is also happening through your fourth house of emotional foundation. And part of your emotional foundation is being the light, is being the shine that you want to see in the world, is you actually moving through and letting the world see you for who you are. There's a lot of old baggage that you're releasing throughout this new moon of Scorpio, and it's going to let you start to shine again in a way where you don't have to like wonder if it's happening. Also, I know we're in the card pulls. I have kept off the monetization on YouTube for a bit, just to like let y'all chill. I do want to turn it on though, just because people will be coming back in later, and I have yapped for a long time, so I apologize for that. But I do want to draw on the ads, just because I do have AdSense and I am a YouTube partner, so I want to be able to pay my bills. So the slumpy is slumping, bouncing back now, and I'm glad about it because that really is what's been going on in terms of this energetic that's been happening, right? Let's get on over to the next part, which is going to be Sagittarius, right? I'm still moving through all of these because this deck is doing its thing. So this is, you know, in honor of all those holidays and such that are happening right now. So for Sagittarius, let's see what pops up for y'all. Also for Sun, Moon, and Rising, by the way. So for Sagittarius, we have the Tower card. This is a rude awakening of your power in a way where you might have thought that you had to like, I think for Sag, I think the Tower card is like you thought you had to do things a certain way in order for things to be part of your vision. But this is happening in your 12th house, right? So the change that's going on is that like you're having this awakening process that's altering the way that you used to view yourself. I think there's a real breakthrough Sag that's going on in terms of like, here's who I used to be, here's how I used to operate, here are the changes that are going on in that process, right? So that's something that I really see going on there. And there's going to be a lot more introspection that's been going on. So there's a Tower card because things are changing, things are shifting, things are going to be different moving forward. But that's not something to be afraid of as much as it's like, hey, Sag, you want to change. Here's the change that's pulling through. And all the stuff that you've been working on interim is going to help lead you forward in the way that you actually want to go. But you have to break the old paradigm first. So the old paradigm is falling apart. Are you going to stay up in that tower when you know what's about to fall through? oh no, the tower's about to fall. I gotta go run and stand at the top and please don't fall. Like the tower's going down, dog. Like you don't gotta be a part of it. You could just keep it all moving. You can know the tower's not gonna look the same way and keep it moving into the next direction if that's what you want to do. So that's something that you need to tap into, right? Um, it's okay if you're watching this in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. Shout out to y'all who are in South Africa. Shout out to y'all in Germany. Shout out to y'all in Australia. Shout out to all my people from across the world, England, UK. What dog is barking right now, yo? Yeah, we getting into this Scorpio season. Like I said, it's an interesting time. Okay, let's keep it moving though. Earth signs. We're gonna start off with Taurus, right? Get it. Taurus. Let's see what's pulling through. For Taurus, we have the High Priestess card. And as you can see by this Lilith type lady, this is a real change and a real understanding of the underbelly of your dark feminine. Taurus, I think y'all are really going through, and this it really does remind me of Lilith as I'm pulling this, because like y'all are going through a really deep seated metamorphosis. If y'all reclaiming your honestly your sexuality, y'all are reclaiming your power, your divine power, and like the power, the Venusian power that you kind of have that gets men screwed up and ladies jealous. Y'all are starting to really just be like, yo, this is what it is, right? Which is a good thing because y'all are actually going to be able to like slowly tap into the real aspect and avenues of what you're supposed to pull up, right? That same dog barking out your window, that's crazy. What's good, neighbor? No, I'm playing. But genuinely, right? The change that's going on is that like there's this understanding of your more emotional depth. There's an understanding of like your ability to tap up, right? I think she was. I might be wrong, Randall. Oh, what's good, Christina? But like this is the big change that's going through in terms of like all of these energies. So like Taurus, keep your head up and flex on them a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Go ahead and flex on them, Taurus. You know what I'm saying? Show them that Venusian principle. And this is in your seventh house of partnerships. So you're going to be a hot commodity in terms of engagement, in terms of people wanting to deal with you, in terms of people wanting to have friendship and also relations. So yeah, that's what I got. Anyway. Yes, Bia, you did ask about Lilith, and that's why I didn't answer because I'm like, I feel like it's about to come up in a second. I ain't gonna lie. So I appreciate y'all staying through, right? 1 second. I just want to get to Virgo, right? Get to Virgo. Yeah, this is the veil is already doing whatever the veil's doing. You know what I'm saying? It's getting intriguing. So, all right, it's for Virgo. For Virgo, we have the Emperor card, right? And the Emperor card right here. This is Virgo. I think y'all are slowly getting into your power in terms of what you're speaking on, right? I think the reason why this Emperor card is showing up for y'all Virgo is because y'all are having to really stand in the power of what you say. And I'm gonna be honest, not everybody's gonna like it. Not everyone's even gonna like you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that's not the problem though. The problem is if you keep looking to appease everything else, you'll never gain the actual insight or finesse or power that you're seeking. And so I think with this new moon in Scorpio, it's like it's less about you appeasing to everything and it's more about what is it that I really want to say. Because if you're over here trying to like speak towards the algorithm, if you're over here trying to appease that, it's not going to work. I'm gonna be honest, it's just not going to work. But if you're like, hey man, I'm actually having a hard day, people are going to feel that. Like it's weird because you're like, oh, I have to be a certain way and it's that and the third, or you might just be like, I don't feel like it today. And then someone's like, you want to know what? That was so brave of you. Thank you so much for being real with me. Here's a promotion and $1 million. And you're like, what? But I did all this other stuff. I did all these other finesses and things. It's like, we ain't even have to do all that. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to do as far as the Virgo part's concerned. Now let's get to Capricorn. Keep it moving from there, right? Let them hate you, not for your words, but that dog in you. Shout out the dog outside barking. Now it's probably for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, that's coming through for Virgo. Now let's get into Capricorn, right? Ooh, okay. 1 second. Let's get into Capricorn. Um, You got 200 views. Dope. That's cool. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all leave a like. Make sure y'all get a mini reading too. So for Capricorn, we have the Hermit. So we have the Hermit card. So with the Hermit card, Capricorn, guess what you get to do? Step back. But ironically, the weird part is it's in your 11th house. This new moon's happening in your 11th house. And I think this is the last hermiting phase that you are getting, Capricorn, before they like start to throw you on stage, especially at the end of this Pluto and Capricorn. Like there's a hermit card because Capricorn, y'all are going through a way deeper, intense emotional process than most people, because you're sitting there being like, especially if you're like around my age, you're sitting there being like, my whole life been told that I must do things a certain way. And everything that I ever worked for is suddenly different. And I could have swore, after all my work and effort, that things were supposed to turn out. It had told me, but now it's all different. Yeah, that Capricorn, you about to be having y'all like anime monologue moment. I ain't gonna lie. But the whole purpose behind this is like you need to like let yourself sit with it, because you're still very necessary in Pluto and Aquarius, but you're necessary because you're the ones that are going to make sure that the old systems that did work stay, where the old systems that did not work get to go. And that's kind of your role, I would say, to play during this Capricorn throughout this specific time frame, right? So this deck is an intense deck. I do not recommend this deck for novices or people who are just starting. I'm not saying novice to be disrespectful by any means. But if you are new to cards, this is one of those cards that makes you like really go for it. So like I just want to let y'all know, if you are getting it, I hope you have a few more tarot decks. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those. This is one of them's, you know? But now we're about to head on over into air and earth. I'm just resetting all this so we can hop back in just a second. This is also a quick cleanse for all y'all. Thank y'all for rocking through with me. You know, we talking about some Scorpio stuff. We got to get a little bit of magic chilling, you know? Okay, cool. So let's get this back on. Please make sure to sign up for a reading if you haven't. And if you really are serious about changing your world through astrology, make sure that you consider one of my long-term teachers. My brain went so many places. I'm gonna just start pulling cards. It's lit. So let's get into the air signs. This is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, right? So we're getting into Gemini first. So for Gemini, this is happening in your 6th house. Let's see what's popping up with this, right? It's as intense as Scorpio emotions. You are absolutely right. But that's why I wanted to save it for like something like this. You know what I'm saying? I do know that this is not a deck that's like an everyday pull by any means. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people aren't even comfortable with like the imagery because they're not getting the message, but this is the message that's pulling through from that. So just wanted to let y'all know. Gemini, you have the Emperor as well, which is interesting. So both the Mercurial signs has gotten the Emperor card. And so what I think is happening as well for you, Gemini, you are the master of your own world if you choose to actually speak on the things that are going on and not just yapping just to yap. Like there's, and even like in the world, like right now, like we're going through a very heavy political time. Like if you have an opinion, you're gonna have to start saying that opinion. And guess what? You're gonna lose some people. Whether you're with it, with one side, with the other side, with none of the sides, you're gonna start speaking on it. People gonna be mad. People gonna be mad, but guess what? Let them be upset. Let them be perturbed. Why? Because you're going to be coming through with your truth in this process. So the Emperor card for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this is going to be really allowing you to like feel into your need to get into power by taking care of your emotional health, by speaking on your truth a little bit more every day. And it's not something that's going to happen immediately, but this is something that people are going to start to rock with you for in that process. You get what I'm saying? So I hope that that gives you a little bit of context. in that regard. Hope that was okay. Cool. Next one. Let's get into Libra. Libra. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right. Libra, we have the Hanged Man card, right? So right now, Libra, I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all. Y'all are in between worlds. When I was talking about the veil being thin, guess what? Y'all are just in between the in-betweens right now. How do I know? Well, this is going through your second house. Ooh, excuse me. This is going through, I told you it's getting deep. This is going through your second house, right? And so this is going through your house of values, um, and self-worth. And I think right now y'all are in this stasis of your self-worth where you're like, hey, the world used to tell me I was this way or I was valuable. Let's say you're one of those Libras who's like, wow, everyone thought I was valuable because I'm pretty. And then you're over there being like, wait a second. Do you only value me because I'm pretty? I thought that you were supposed to honor me for my warrior spirit. I thought that you were honoring me because I'm ready to get down with it. You know, that's how Libra's feeling right now. So, so the transformation that is going on in terms of like how you're operating and how things are also changing. This has a lot to do with the idea that you're like cultivating a stronger sense of self. And through this sense of self, that's why it's feeling weird because you're not bouncing off of anybody else to figure it out for the first time in a long time. This it's coming to you from a spiritual aspect. So usually you're used to like bouncing off another person. Now you're bouncing off your higher self. What now? Now you're bouncing off a spirit. You don't got nothing like specific to rock with that. You get what I'm saying? Like, so what now? And I think that's really what's happening in terms of this Libra energy that's coming through. And I hope that that gives y'all a little bit more context. But like, this is a spiritual time. This is a time of surrender. Like a surrendering to the higher parts of you. Past the charm, past what people just think of you. What is that thing? And how are you relating to it in that process? That's what's going on with you, Libra, for this new moon. Also, appreciate y'all staying through and rocking with me. I'm having a great time. It's always good to have y'all here. Beautiful thing, for real. Okay, so this is for Aquarius, for Aquarius, right? You weirdos. He said lovingly. So, Aquarius, see what we got for you. Aquarius, we also got the Hermit card. It looks like you and Capricorn are playing desk homies, sitting at the desk of Pluto, being like, oh my God, things are changing. So, Capricorn, Aquarius, y'all are in this like special kind of cahoots. You know what I'm saying? One second. Literally, someone just texted me. I want to point something out real quick. Someone just texted me and said it's darker this year earlier, right? I'm not tripping. One second. Daylight saving times is this weekend. Bit. So the more you know. But back to the Aquarius, right? This is happening in your 10th house. So like literally Capricorn is slowly passing you off the torch. So y'all are kind of in cahoots, being like, hey man, like I don't like the stuff you did for the last, or here's the mistakes I made from 2008 to now. Here's how you could take it forward. And Aquarius is being like, good to know. I'm not listening to any of this. And it's like, no, man, you gotta listen to this. Like, so Aquarius and Capricorn, y'all are going back and forth. And that's just on like what you're choosing. You know what I'm saying? You said that eclectic. Did I? I don't know. Basically, what I can say, I was zoned out. I'm in it. I told you we in the cars today. But the idea of at least the Aquarius portion is that like y'all are really finding a newfound relationship to the kind of like chaos that kind of comes through with Pluto coming in, because there is a lot of change that needs to happen and you need to point out what change that you want to see in the world and start to become the change you want to see in the world, especially because that 10th house portion. So you are in cahoots with Capricorn as they try to pass you the torch. especially throughout this new moon energy and the last one that we're experiencing before we enter into Pluto and Aquarius again. So, yeah. Sorry, y'all. That's all I got. That's all I got for you, Aquarius. Oh, man. This is a fun time. Challenge. I enjoy this. Okay. So, getting over to the next thing, right? Getting over to the next thing. Emotional chaos, world chaos, but it's about chaos control. And so for both Aquarius and for Capricorn and Aquarius, this is about chaos control. You are literally Sonic and Shadow running around trying to grab all the chaos emeralds so things work out. I hope somebody's nerdy enough in here to understand what I just said, because I'm a dork. Okay, so moving forward into the water signs. Let's get into Cancer. It's this for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. That whole thing. Beware. So one thing that I get from this, as far as Cancer is concerned, right? I'm gonna be so straightforward with y'all, Cancer. Y'all are experiencing this last part of Pluto and Aquarius stupid hard. Why? Because it's opposite Mars and Cancer. So honestly, Cancer, if you can do anything during this like change, make sure that you just stay cautious about who you're emotionally engaging with and who you're telling the deeper parts of things. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, Cancer, there's some people that got some weird energy about y'all. And I want to just like tell you this because I know as soon as I say this, y'all are gonna know who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about and be like, oh my God, I knew I was getting this weird feeling. Like literally pay attention to that because like it's not to be scared of, but it's something to be like, oh, this person I can't tell this to. Like, you can't be an open book this new moon in Scorpio. And I'm typically one of those people who's like, just tell the truth, just be real, it's okay. You cannot talk to everybody like that. This is upcoming part of Cancer because people are maybe in a position to try to like steer how you feel. And you need to be in the seat of your own emotions. So even if that's you taking some time out, even if that's you just not fully letting people know how you feel for that next little bit, that might be appropriate for what's going on in that process. I don't know how else to fully explain this because this is like again a real deeper layer of what's going on type deal. But that's what I'm really sensing in terms of that. Especially this is happening in your fifth house of of creativity, romance, and stuff like that. So if you're somebody, just be mindful of how you're approaching the relationship world, the world of love and stuff like that. Because like there's just be mindful because like there might be somebody who's trying to weasel their way through or like something else like that. Just be aware. Just be aware of that. That's the main thing I have to say. I don't think this is inherently negative, but like there's going to be someone who might try to shoot your shot who may not have, or might try to shoot their shot that doesn't have the best intention. You know what I'm saying? This is used to understand and be able to be like, whoa there, back off. I'm going this way, right? If you are going out, and in general, if you're going out, make sure that you go out with people that you know. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you go out with people that you know care for you as best as you can type deal. Like this is just the overall thing for any type of holiday like this, but I do recommend that specifically for y'all Cancer on this time frame. Have fun, don't have too much fun. Still be mindful of everything that's happening. And I think there's a lot of transformation that's going on there, and you're going to be learning the world of boundary in a good way, and that's going to be leading you forward. I'm not saying this will make this like a scary thing, but this is one of those more intense decks to go through. But I just want to be on theme for what's happening. Oh, excuse me. Oh gosh, yeah, we're going in. So for Scorpio, usually I start off with y'all first. My bad, I was going in order of this. Scorpio, this is happening in your first house. So this is a new beginning somewhere. You have the card that hopped out, and you have two cards. Look at you, Scorpio. Y'all got two cards. You have intention and you have the hermit. So here's what I want to get straightened out with this, right? The intention side to this Scorpio portion is that Scorpio, I think this new moon is trying to tell you that like you got to stop with just the chaotic, whatever happens, happens. And you got to be more pinpoint forward with what it is that you want and like mean it. because what it is that you want and mean is going to start to pull through. But if you mean something that's like indirect, let's say like harm or BS to somebody else, that energy you have is going to bounce right back to you. Which I think why I think the hermit's on the other side of it, because it's like you should probably intend diving deeper into your own knowledge versus trying to like get a one up on something. My biggest suggestion, like this isn't like a climb the ladder type of new moon for y'all. Y'all are just trying to rebirth yourself in a way where you don't even have to worry about that kind of thing. That's really what I'm sensing in terms of all this energy. And I hope that this is resonating for y'all Scorpios when it comes to this. But that's really what I'm sensing with this is a new beginning, but it has to do with you really knowing your intention, especially with it being in the first house. There's a real transformation on this emotional level that's about to go through and allow you to really take the next step into your life as a magician or witch or whatever else it is that you do. So that's that for y'all, Scorpio. And that's, oh, we got 222 views. Wow. Look at that. Okay. The last thing that we got. Also, shout out to all y'all who ended up getting mini readings. I have not been checking my email and notifications thing. I'm sure that y'all have been pulling through. And so I just want to say appreciate you. And if you haven't yet, all right, this is the last one. We're going to Pisces, right? Oh, we got stuff. It's flying out. 1 sec. Okay. So Pisces, two things we got. We got the High Priestess, like we got for somebody earlier. I can't remember what sign it was. We got the High Priestess card, but we also have the World's card. And this was the one that really like stuck out when that happened. Pisces, the World card coming up in the 9th house. Y'all are about to be able to live in your dreamland in a really interesting way. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a slight streak of delusion that's also involved here. I'm not going to put that past y'all. Y'all are diving a little more into the Delulu as you're figuring out your philosophies with this, but that's part of the point right now. Because like the shift that's happening is that like you're expanding the way that you connect to your more spiritual nature, but it's coming through in a way that has to do with you really accepting the fact that like y'all are not from here low key, high key, like y'all are not just regular human people, particularly. Not to say y'all aren't human, but y'all are so wise coming from a very different space. And only y'all have their direct correlation on what that really means. But the reason why this is happening is that it's like not Delulu, yeah, Delulu. Because right now the Delulu is the Salulu. Because the Salulu that's coming through from this is you like actually knowing how to like gear your Delulu in a way that makes sense with reality. But you have to like almost like about it first. And that's the only way it's gonna happen. I hope that that makes sense. I know y'all Pisces feel me on that. It's hard to put that into words, but it is one of those situations where like there is a lot of change in that regard, digging deeper into all of the things. But yeah, that's what I got. Let's do one more card just for everybody. Why not? Why not? You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all leave a like. Shout out to y'all leaving their reactions and all that good stuff. The last card we have is Temperance. Be mindful of your mind, body, soul, and spirit throughout all this because there is a lot of soul transformation that's happening. And so if you don't take care of mind, body, and spirit best you can in this new moon, you can kind of get lost in the sauce of like all the deeper subconscious layers that are happening. You have the chance to make your world a brand new place. You have the chance to really set the stage for your emotional tone as you enter into Pluto and Aquarius and beyond. But you have to not be afraid to dig within the depths of yourself to pull out the truth of what your heart is trying to say. So let your freak flag fly, you flying freaks. But outside of that, um appreciate y'all for pulling through. Hope that this ends up reaching y'all well. Make sure y'all get the mini reading so I can get that to y'all before all the special holidays of lore. But thank y'all for pulling up. I appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all for showing love. Thank y'all for sticking through with me. It was cool to explore that deck that I don't usually do unless it's something that's like more on the Scorpio end and at the end of Pluto in Aquarius, or at the end of Pluto in Capricorn. So that's why I was like, it's fitting. It's fitting for right now. I don't have my usual deck in front of me because I ended up using it for an event that I was at, and it's somewhere elsewhere and I don't feel like finding it. But appreciate y'all for pulling up. Thank y'all for showing love. And you have a great night. You have been a great audience, and I've been a great host. And aside from that, I'm gonna go take a nap because I just talked for like 5 hours straight. But appreciate y'all. Stay up. Peace up. A-Town down. And all that good stuff. You can't search the YouTube emojis. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think you have to subscribe first, maybe. If I don't really know. Anyway, appreciate y'all. I'm out.